Just because something's not still sexy and getting coverage doesn't mean it's over or doesn't matter. And the reality is what we're seeing in East Palestine, Ohio. They can't move past what happened in February because they still can't go to their homes, too many of them. And now I get it. Life moves on. There's the new thing, especially in this fast cycle that we're all in, right? We have these short attention spans. But we have new reporting on very dramatic symptoms and suffering, seizures, tremors, sores, okay? Not things that ordinarily occur if everything's normal in your environment. Amanda Kemmer, who lives just a few miles from East Palestine, captured this picture of the plume darkening the sky above her home. Just days ago, she said, those aren't just regular clouds, she says. She suffered 10 to 12 seizure-like events and had to be rushed to the hospital. She joins us now along with Scott Smith. You remember him? He's been doing chemical testing in the community as collaborating on research with a burn pit expert. Thank you for both joining us. First, Amanda, let me start with you. Have you ever had a history of these kinds of things? And what are the doctors telling you?
No, I've never had a seizure or seizure-like activity in my life. And the doctors said it was dehydration and severe involuntary muscle spasm. So that's what they're calling it. I don't know that I believe that. It's taken a lot for us to trust the medical community, not the medical community, but like the EPA, Norfolk Southern, and then, things like this happen, and the medical community doesn't necessarily want to believe that it's because of the train derailment, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So when you go to the hospital and you tell them, hey, I only live a few miles from East Palestine and I was exposed to all these chemicals, and I believe that my symptoms are because of this, not a lot of people want to listen.
Well, look, just for doing the job's sake, we reached out to the federal agencies that are supposed to be involved here and the state agencies. Nobody wants to come on. I may have to get back into the business of, meeting them at their car in the parking lot and see what they're going to say. I never like those kinds of interviews because you never get any real talk. You just get like salacious TV, and that's not what you need. You need answers and action. Scott, have you checked on the federal and the governmental side to see if anybody wanted to collaborate with your work or if they could coordinate or tell you what they're doing?
Yeah, first of all, Chris, thanks for covering the story. Because of your coverage in NewsNation, this gives great hope that these people can get the help they need in East Palestine. Yeah, I had a long 45-minute call with the EPA Region 5 yesterday. They were not aware of the symptoms from the women. And let me step back and provide context. Dr. Beatrice Gollum reached out to me. She is the one that helped our vets from the burn pits when they were told it was mass psychosis and they were making up their symptoms. She figured out how all these chemicals combine, and we are seeing the same thing going on here. And I told the EPA yesterday they were not aware about the problems with women's health, menstrual cycles, very painful, heavy blood clot, and also rashes that women are experiencing. You do not have to be a PhD, a rocket scientist, or a high school graduate to understand that none of these symptoms were ubiquitous in the environment before the derailment. So you really don't need testing to understand something is going on. And with the seizures, the same thing.
Amanda, has anybody given you any kind of guidance of whom to tell about what's happening with you to try to get help or at least to report it?
So I reached out to the CDC and I talked to them 2 days ago, and they were not interested at all in listening to the side effects or the seizures. And I actually have a list of 9 people that have had seizures in the last 2 weeks, which is interesting because they've been digging up the burn pits in the last 2 weeks.
Right. What do you mean they're not interested? What did the CDC people say that make you say they're not interested?
They said call the Department of Health, that they weren't taking any side effects from the train derailment. So I did get in contact yesterday with the Department of Health, and they said that somebody would be in contact with me to talk about this new symptom coming out, which is seizure-like activity. But I've yet to hear back from the Department of Health.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.